How hard is it to learn EU5? Well, I've got almost 500 hours in this game across 6 different versions of it, so let me try answering that question while going through the team talks that is all about onboarding and how the game is trying to teach you how to play the game, of course with my comments of how I learned it myself. If you're looking to buy any games, especially for yourself, your family or friends, make sure to check sponsor of this video, Zlewikk, that offers you countless of games on countless of platforms at a much discounted price. Not just games, but also subscriptions and gift cards. When you buy something, you'll just save some money and support the channel. Let's get straight to the video. Well, first of all, they are explaining that they are approaching a bit differently the onboarding in EU5 versus like previous games of EU or many strategy games, and that's because EU5 is just simply very deep and very complex game, so you cannot just throw a 5 minutes tutorial to just let the player learn it. And that's why there will be 3 main pillars that will be used to teach the players the game, which is integration, pace and reward. We'll talk about these 3 later on. But first of all, for the onboarding system, they defined 3 player styles. Of course, there are many more, right, that you might yourself think about as a experienced grand strategy game player, but they're the 3 main ones. One is the politics, that we focus on internal politics, very often playing tall and micromanaging many aspects in your game, like your government, your cabinet, your societal values or diplomacy. Second one will be economic, which will be more focused on developing the country, increasing the amount of the buildings, how much you trade with the other countries, and finally the expansion playstyle, which definitely is usually mine, where you want to build your army and navy, declare wars on the enemies, expand on the new lands, and integrate and core them. For these playstyles, they also defined this beautiful starting screen, the recommended countries choice, where they offer you 2 of countries for each of the playstyles. So for the politics you receive Norway as well as Naples. For the economy you've got Hungary, while the expansion will be Castile and the Ottomans. And even each of these countries is a bit different in its own aspects, like Castile expansion will be more colonial, Ottoman expansion will be more through lands, Holland economy will be more focused on trading, while Hungary's economy more on getting money from the estates and using the silver mines that you're having. This is a very beautiful screen, you've probably seen it already from one of the Chinese creators. What's worth mentioning that this is just recommended country screen. There is a CTA here to select any country, but you can also by default, when you click a new game, go ahead and select any country in the world map, just like you could in EU4. The difference is that in EU5, when you click on a specific country, you actually see how much content it is. How much content is by itself, I mean the dynamic historic events, its own advances, privileges, guarantee forms, or how much content they have because they have a central culture, they have a certain culture group, they have a certain religion, government, etc. So you can very deeply take a look, okay, how much of content does this country actually have? When you start playing, you can also choose if you want to go through the onboarding itself, it's your choice. But of course that will be my recommendation when you boot your game for the first time. Onboarding will be very useful, first of all to learn the fundamentals, and this will be the same for each of the player styles that you choose. Meaning that it is just gonna show you where are the UI elements, how the tooltips work, where to find the most important aspects of your nation, like taxes, your balance, where to find out outliner, etc. They're mentioning that generic walkthrough is gonna take you 15-20 minutes, maybe more if you're playing more around with the stuff like UI. For me, it was probably a bit more, as I wanted to go deeply and see what each of the UI elements is showing. And once you complete the general walkthrough, then the game is gonna throw at you more advanced tips. And now, depending on the country that you chose, is it a politics, economy, or expansion? So be, for example, showed how the diplomacy works, what kind of actions you can do, how to handle markets and trading. That's probably one of the most complex systems in EU5, or how to get a CB and wage the war. What's important, each of these walkthroughs is also tied to mission trees that are different in this game, and you will be first focused on one of these specific walkthroughs, but you'll be able to pursue any you want through the campaign. And here we go back to the pillars that I mentioned earlier. So we've got integration, which means that the tutorial should feel like they are a part of the game, not a separate mode, and that's indeed what happens in EU5. It's not a separate mode. You can learn the game with the recommended countries, but you can also learn the game with any country that you choose. And that's how they created, so you don't just skip tutorial, you play it and you learn, you get the tips while even playing for the first time. It's not a separate mode in the game. Then we've got the pace, as mentioned, you first learn the basics, and then over time the game is gonna start throwing you more and more complex stuff so you can learn it. And finally, as for the rewards, they do have the mission trees. Let me show them how they look like. The mission trees that are simply focused on teaching you the game while also giving you some rewards. So for example, you'll be having an economic mission tree that is called Develop a Traditional Economy, which is about expanding your rural locations and getting more buildings over there. You'll be having stuff about expansion, stuff about building infrastructure. So this will show you like even what kind of buildings there are, what they do, and by completing these missions you'll be getting rewards to just help you also learn the game faster. An important mention that is over here regarding the pace, and that will be one of my main comments when you'll be learning the game. Don't be afraid to give some aspects of your gameplay to automations. Like, for example, let automations handle your buildings, or let automations handle your trade. AI will not be as good as an experienced player through these automations, which is great. It would be very bad if it was greater, but it will allow you to see what kind of actions AI is doing, what buildings it does, what trades they are doing, and so be able to observe and then maybe turn off the automation and start replicating it yourself. That is especially important the first, 50 or so hours where you're still figuring out other aspects. Something that I did really like to do in my first hours of this game was focusing on a specific aspect. For example, when I played for the first time and Poland was still at war with the Teutons on that old patch, I automated everything outside of the war. So I just focus on trying to win that war and learn how to move the troops, what are the automations, what are the objectives. And then over time you can unlock more and more aspects of the game by stopping the automation. Even over time, when I got more experience, I often had situations where I was automating the trade, and only in later campaigns I started playing around more to see how trading impacts the prices, how it impacts prices in your node, on the other node, how it impacts your production. So you will get deeper once your knowledge of the game develops. Same, for example, with societal values. It seems very complex at the first glance, and in my first campaigns I just didn't look at the societal values. Maybe in late game I started taking a deeper look, seeing, oh, why do I have this modifier, how I can change it, and with more and more playtime you learn how to shape the societal values to achieve your goals for that specific campaign. So when you'll be playing the game for the first time, do whatever you like, of course, but I would definitely recommend you to try the onboarding that EU5 offers you. It is an onboarding, so it doesn't mean to tell you how to play the game like a master, but it's gonna allow you to get started, start exploring various systems, and don't be afraid to get lost early on, because it's standard for such a complex game. Take your time, sometimes automate stuff, and focus on specific aspects of the game, and over time you'll just gradually learn everything. Even after 500 hours, I keep learning new stuff, which is totally normal, and also do expect that for yourself. But it doesn't mean I didn't have fun playing the game. 50 hours, 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours. I had fun in each of these stages, and honestly I keep having more and more fun as I just learn how to use the systems to my advantage and to win with the AIs. That's it for this Team Talks, but I wanted to mention to you that I have plenty of guides that will be incoming from the release of EU5, so if you don't subscribe me yet, make sure to do that now, because I'll be releasing this very soon, including a general guide on EU5, which works kinda like this onboarding but deeper, and many more specific guides that I'll not reveal yet. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you very soon.